in, everyone, to Let's Talk Lenawee by Visit Lenawee, where we talk all things happening in Lenawee County, events, new attractions, businesses. And today we have a couple of really special guests with us from Hidden Lake Gardens, Jessica Goodrich and Paul Pfeifer.
Morning, Jenna.
Morning, Jenna.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do in your roles at Hidden Lake Gardens?
Sure. I'm the managing director, so basically, I get a lot of credit for stuff I don't do because we have such a great staff and a lot of great volunteers. But I'm basically the manager, the leader of the group. I supervise the full-time and part-time staff.
Okay. Awesome. Jessica?
And I am one of the most recent additions. I am the marketing and publicity coordinator, and I do all things with promotion for Hidden Lake Gardens. It's a brand new position, and it's really exciting to be part of the team.
Mm-hmm. It's a really fun place to be, and I'm sure a fun place to work, too.
Yep.
Great place, especially on days like today where it's really bright and sunny.
Yeah.
Yes, we're thankful for that. So for people who haven't been to Hidden Lake Gardens, can you just tell us everything that they can experience there, a broad overview, and because sits on like 755 acres, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We have 755 acres. Part of that is natural areas like woodland, prairie, meadows, but a significant part of that is also designed and cultivated gardens and grounds and landscapes. We also have a conservatory, a greenhouse with plants in a tropical environment, an arid or a desert type environment, and then the temperate house, which is more of the common plants and more of our plants where we have different seasonal displays. We just finished our spring flowering bulb show last week. So that's all in the temperate house. There are a lot of things we can switch things in quite a bit. So we have 12 miles of hiking trails. We have all these different gardens. We have three nationally significant plant collections, the dwarf conifer collection, Hosta Hillside, and then our bonsai collection. So there's something there for everybody, whether you're just looking to come and walk your dog, do a little bit of recreational activity, or really learn about plants and gardening.
Mm-hmm. So the hiking, I wanted to talk about that for a second. So there's lots of trails. Can you talk a little bit about what the terrain is like for people who are looking for a new place to hike?
Yeah, it might be a little bit surprising for people that aren't familiar with Hidden Lake Gardens. We're within the Irish Hills region, so we do have quite a few rolling hills. The glaciers helped us out there with a lot of kettle holes and a lot of hills and moraines. So while some parts of the trails are pretty easy, some are pretty difficult, and it's a lot of up and down and going through valleys. In fact, our new canopy walk goes over a very large valley. So I would say our trails are easy to moderate as far as being able to do them physically.
Okay.
But there's a few foot trails here and there that could be a little bit challenging.
So something for everyone.
And it's the nice feature about Hidden Lake Gardens is we do have 6 miles of paved drives. So even someone that can't even get out of the car could drive through and appreciate nature.
Yeah, lots of people like to go through, walk their dogs that live close in the area, right?
Yeah,
that you
for
see.
sure. Yeah.
Such a nice place too,
Yep.
though. And there is a lake.
Yes, there
Hidden,
is. There
but,
is
right?
really a hidden lake. That was part of when the glaciers came through. It's actually considered a kettle lake. So we have kettle holes, which are dried lakes, and then Hidden Lake is a actual kettle lake from that glacial formation, which is what makes our unique topography.
Is there anything that people can do with the lake, or is it more of just a visual? I mean, there's no fishing there or
No,
anything, right?
no, really no lake access. So no fishing, no swimming, no boating. We don't have any sort of a dock or a pier or a beach type situation. It's really surrounded by woodland, and then on the east side is Hosta Hillside. So there isn't very many opportunities to get right close to the lake. It's about a 5-acre lake, so it's not a huge lake.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just for enjoyment and aesthetics to view.
Yeah.
And good photo opportunities.
Yeah,
Definitely
lots of
that.
photos there. So a lot to offer there besides just people who want to go and walk and take in nature. You also can host weddings and other events, right?
We do have room rentals. We've done weddings in the past. Since COVID, we have not resumed our wedding program, mostly due to staffing. We just don't have the staff back yet where we can coordinate both the scheduling of the weddings and then also handling wedding groups on the day of the weddings. When we do have weddings, they are outdoors. So we have about 5 different areas that wedding parties can set up for their outdoor ceremony. We do have a garden room and an auditorium in the visitor center that serves as backup in case of inclement weather, but they're not very large spaces. Most wedding groups use them as a changing room,
Yeah.
just in case. But we just can't quite resume that yet since we just don't have the staff to really make it happen.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that right now too, still, unfortunately. So the canopy walk is a new attraction. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got to the point now, and hopefully soon will be opening to the public, right?
Well, yeah. So very recently, we've we haven't really announced it, but we've determined that the Canopy Walk will open on June 20th. So we will have a grand opening celebration that day for the public.
Okay.
And interestingly, that will actually be 4 years to the day after we announced that we were going to do the Canopy Walk publicly.
Oh, really?
It just kind of worked out that way. We didn't plan it that way or realize that it would happen that way.
Just fate.
Yeah.
But it's going to work out just fine that way. So the Canopy Walk idea started about 5.5 years ago, October of 2017, and it wasn't even a canopy walk that we were looking at. We were looking at building a tower, like a tree tower, to get people above the trees. And as we started to investigate some other tree towers in the area, especially one near Cleveland, Ohio, at the Holden Arboretum, when we went to visit and see that tower, they also had this canopy walk. So we were all excited about doing the tree tower.
Yeah.
But as we were driving back from that visit, all of a sudden somebody said, well, yeah, but what about that canopy walk? And so we started talking about that. So that's when we decided to do both.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good thing that we did because the tree tower brought some challenges with it from a design perspective. Because we're owned and operated by Michigan State University, every new structure has to be ADA compliant. So anybody of any ability has to be able to experience it. Well, the tower as it was designed was just a spiral staircase, 120 feet in the air.
Right.
And the university said, you can build that, but you have to put an elevator in it. And our canopy walk and tree tower design is about a half mile from the visitor center out in the middle of the woods. So there's no power, there's no electric. So we put canopy walk into phase 1. We moved the tree tower to phase 2. And so we have a canopy walk that's ready to open here in just a few weeks. And then once that's up and running, dare I say, we'll start redesigning and going forward with the tree tower aspect.
Awesome. And the canopy walk, Jessica, is how long is it?
It's just a little over 700 feet long, and 65 feet in the air.
Wow. Yeah. So I remember when we visit Lenawee went to check it out. It was really cool because you're just walking, and then all of a sudden it's just like it's in, like you said, in the middle of the woods, and it looks really natural. Though that's what I loved about it.
Yes, definitely. It feels like it was supposed to be there, and it actually expands over one of the kettle holes I was talking about. So it just gives a unique perspective. You're up there with the birds in the trees, and once the trees leave out, I cannot wait to see it through the different seasons.
Yeah, I think the fall will be amazing there. What I loved too is that I think, Paul, you mentioned when we were there that you can even take strollers, like it's wide enough to take strollers so people who have kids, young kids like myself. I mean, that's really cool to be able to include them in something like that.
Yeah, a stroller, a wagon, a wheelchair, a walker, all those things will work on both the boardwalk ramp that leads you to the bridge and then on the bridge itself.
Yeah.
So the bridge has a little bit of, it's a suspension bridge.
Yeah.
So it has a little bit of bounce to it, but it's very, very sturdy.
Yeah.
And we haven't lost anybody yet. So
Well, I was a little nervous because I'm not a big fan of heights, but once we went there and got on it, I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. And so people who might feel like, I don't know about it,
Yeah.
go and check it out and just try it because it's, I mean, I guess it depends on your level of.
In some ways, when you get out there, it doesn't feel as high as it is.
No.
And then when you go down on the ground, you go, oh, wow, that
When
was a ways up there.
Yeah, and it's just such a cool experience once you get up there and see everything. You just block out the like, oh my gosh, I'm this far off the ground, you know.
and I think from season to season, it'll have a different feel to it too. So like today, there are no leaves on the tree, so it feels very wide open.
Yeah.
You have great views.
Right.
And in the middle of summer, when all the trees are leafed out, you actually have foliage above you, beside you, and even underneath you a little bit. So it feels a little bit more enclosed.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's going to be a different experience from season to season, which is exactly what we wanted it to be.
Right. And eventually, Jessica, you guys want to hopefully get into some events out there on the
For sure.
treetop part, right? Like some yoga and possibly stuff like that.
And there's even what's considered an outdoor classroom as you go up the ramps. And I think that just has endless possibilities as we go into the future. We've already had a lot of interest in creating events out there, and we even have something planned for this winter already. So
awesome. Yay.
In the planning stages.
It'll be fun.
So
at night.
At night.
Too. Yeah. So
with lights.
It'll be fun.
So can you share anything else about the grand opening event?
It will be pretty low key, I think. The idea will be to just publicly and officially announce that it's open and then get people on it.
Yeah.
But we feel like we need to make some thank yous and some acknowledgments and invite obviously university leaders and civic leaders and folks like that. But really just to make the day official that it's truly open to the public and ready to go.
Yeah. And just talking from people who are maybe coming out of town, I mean, Hidden Lake Gardens, like you said before, Paul, and the Irish Hills, there's so much to do in the area. So, I mean, go to Hidden Lake Gardens, check out the Canopy Walk, and then check out some of the other really beautiful sites and lakes that we have in the Irish Hills. I mean, it's such a great spot.
So we were in for ourselves. We're hoping that this Canopy Walk would bring more people to Hidden Lake Gardens. People that haven't come to Hidden Lake Gardens, a pretty common comment that we hear from people is like, "Oh, I drive by here every day and I've never been here," or "Boy, the last time I was here was 30 years ago with my school field trip." We want folks to come more often, and we also think that will draw more tourists to the area too. So it'll be really wonderful to not just have them come to Hidden Lake Gardens, but also have the opportunity to promote all of the other things that are going on in Lenawee County and the Irish Hills area. Yeah. So we're really hoping that our visitor center will have some exhibit space where we can start to promote other opportunities. We don't have any kind of food service at Hidden Lake Gardens, and that's one of the first questions folks ask. Well, where can we get something to eat? So instead of us recommending restaurants, here's restaurants in certain distances to them, and here's where you can go. So really hoping that that people coming to Hidden Lake Gardens, we can then promote other things that are happening throughout this area and really get people engaged with the beauty and the fantastic things that are right here in Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so excited for it.
The nice part is when people do stop, they're always glad they did.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's making that commitment. I need to get outdoors today, and this would be the perfect place, and they always feel better when they leave.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you can't leave a garden and feel sad after that, right?
Right.
Hope not.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Canopy Walk? I'm going to talk a little bit about memberships, but is there anything else you guys want to share? Or
just again that it's really accessible to anybody. So the one thing I will say is that because of weight limits and also space, we're limited to the number of people that can be on it at one time. So on really busy days, there could be a timed ticket situation or reservation type of situations that folks know what to expect and aren't waiting in a long line like at an amusement park to get on the canopy walk. So when you arrive at Hidden Lake Gardens, or even before you come, you can kind of see what our visitation looks like for that day and
Okay.
make a reservation so that when you come, you
Yeah.
know approximately what your time frame will be for the canopy walk, so that you're not disappointed that you arrived at 11:30 in the morning but can't get on it till 3:30 afternoon.
Makes sense.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But it will be accessible
Great.
to all. So that was the whole goal, is that anybody of any ability could get out in the woods and connect with nature.
Mhm. And you really do from up there. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Yep.
really exciting.
It
So
is very much
Luckily,
so.
we have 755 other acres to explore.
yeah, exactly.
So while you're waiting, if you do have to wait, there's
Right.
many other features
plenty
to
to
view.
see.
Yep. More than you can see in a day, honestly, if you wanted to
Yeah,
go
that's
through
Oh,
the
true.
whole.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
true.
There's a lot. So Hidden Lake Gardens is, I'd say, on the more affordable side compared to some other botanical gardens in the area. Can you talk a little bit about admission price and memberships?
Sure.
So currently, our entrance gate fee is $10 a person, and there's a little wiggle room there. 4 and under is free. Students are $5, and we have military discount for $8 for military and veterans. I'm trying to think, is there any other
Seniors.
price levels? Seniors
Seniors.
are also, is it $8 for seniors? But our membership pricing is really affordable. So if you're going to come more than one time and you're a family, it's $80 for a household membership that gets everyone in your household in, as well as 6 guests through the year.
Oh, wow.
For a single membership, you could purchase for $45.
Okay.
So again, if you're going to visit us a few times, membership is the way to go.
Yes, absolutely.
The other great thing about our membership is that we participate in 2 different reciprocal admissions programs. One is with Public Gardens, the American Horticultural Society.
Mm-hmm.
So your membership at Hidden Lake Gardens also gives you free admission to over 300 other public gardens throughout
Right.
North America. And then through the Nature Center Administrators Organization, there's 125 nature centers that our membership works at that gets you free admission to those places as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's almost 500 additional gardens and nature centers that your Hidden Lake Gardens membership will get you free admission to as well.
Yeah, that is awesome. And Hidden Lake Gardens being on a little more of the affordable side compared to some of those, you can get into those big ones and at a what it feels like
Correct.
a cheaper rate.
Yeah, even with the $10 per person admission fee, we're still very much at the low end of admission fees for most other public gardens and arboretum, not just in Michigan but throughout the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. And I can imagine a lot of that money goes towards just keeping up with the grounds, right? And
Certainly, even though we are owned and operated by Michigan State University, very little of our operating budget comes through the university. We rely solely on endowments, donations, sales in the gift shop, some of our public events, registration fees, and then our gate fee.
mm-hmm.
That's what pays the bills.
Right.
MSU doesn't provide us with much in the way of operating expenses. When Harry Fee first donated Hidden Lake Gardens to the university back in 1945, it was his goal to set it up so that Hidden Lake Gardens could operate independently of the university and any other state funding. Well, 80 some years later, that's not quite so easy to do anymore, but we still try to make a goal of it, and so that's where our gate fee comes in.
Okay, makes sense. And volunteers are big for you guys too, right?
We rely heavily on
Huge part.
volunteers, especially since COVID. We had a very strong volunteer group going into COVID, and then with all the shutdown, we just couldn't have. We were very limited in staff, but we couldn't have any volunteers. So we're in the process of trying to rebuild our volunteer base, providing more opportunities for volunteers actually to get involved, and because really. It's their energy, their enthusiasm, the things that they do that really help us to go. And the canopy walk will be very reliable on volunteers to help with tour guides and monitoring and just keeping people safe and operational and just making sure everybody's getting connected with nature in the right way.
Yeah. Such nice people that are there. You get greeted by really awesome people. So it's a good experience all around. And I'm not being biased.
Great.
Anything else that you guys want to share about anything up and coming or things that you think people should know about?
We just really like to encourage anyone who's never been out or hasn't been out in a while to just come out and see the changes. Our gift shop has moved into the visitor center in the lower level. There's a lot there that wasn't there before. Our website is brand new and constantly being updated, hiddenlakegardens.msu.edu. You can purchase memberships there now. We'll be able to register for classes as we are getting our events calendar built back up. And just to stay updated there, if you want to volunteer at the garden, there's good information there on our volunteers. You can actually fill out a volunteer application online. And I think anybody that wants to come out and volunteer won't regret it. It'll be a fun time. So there's just a lot happening. And we're on social media too, constantly updating Facebook, Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn and Twitter. So perfect. If you want to stay in the loop or get on our website and join our email list.
Plenty of ways to stay connected with you guys, right? Yep. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, anyone who's coming in from out of the area and need a place to stay, check out visitlenawee.com for all of your accommodations. And thank you, Jessica and Paul, for being on today. And we're looking forward to Canopy Walk opening and hope people get out there and check it out.
Thanks for having us today,
Thank you
Jenna.
very much.